Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. So we are covering the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj. And I would first quickly share the gist of the story. Who is Prahlad? Bhakta Prahlad, also referred to as Prahlad Maharaj. What is the story behind it? And before that, also, how does uh, these teachings and the very glories of Prahlad Maharaj come into Śrīmad Bhāgavatam? So in the sixth canto, near the end, what has happened is that Diti, who is mother of Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksh, she wants to beget a son who would kill Indra. And so that past has already been discussed in the sixth canto. Well, in this particular chapter, we'll see how Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksh, they appear and so forth. So at that time, Parikshit Maharaj, he realizes and he asks this question of Shukdev Goswami. He says, Lord seems to be partial towards his devotees. He is always helping Indras and the demigods. And at that time, actually, Devashi Narad, when responding, again, Shukdev Goswami is revealing the same question was asked by Yudhishthira Maharaj when Lord Krishna killed Shishupal in the assembly of Pandavas. And at that time, the soul became visible coming out of Shishupal's body, merged into Lord Krishna. And Yudhishthira Maharaj was surprised to see this. That Shishupal, his soul was merging into Lord Krishna. So he felt that Lord is partial towards the demons, the non-devotees. And he asked the same question of Prahlad Maharaj. So again, two different contrasting end of the spectrum. In one case, Parikshit Maharaj is saying that Lord is partial towards those who are devotees, like Indras and the demigods. On the other hand, Yudhishthira Maharaj, his grandfather, is asking the question that it seems like that Krishna is partial towards the demons, not towards the devotees. And in this regard, Devashi Narad, sage Narad, narrates the story of Prahlad Maharaj and Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. So here, in this particular case, we are hearing the story with that one single perspective, that Lord is revealing that he is not partial to anyone. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is revealing to Arjuna, Samoham sarva bhuteshu na me deshu asti na priyaha ye bhajanti tumam
Cannot hear
bhaktya
you.
maite teshu chapyaham. So Lord is revealing that he envies no one, na me dveshu asti na priya, and not partial to anyone. He is equal to all. Samoham sarva bhuteshu. He is equal to all. But whoever renders devotional service unto him, ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya, maite teshu chapyaham. So I am, he is a friend, one who is serving me with devotion, a devotee is in me, and I am also a friend to him. Teshu chapyaham, I am also a friend to him. And this is where we tend to understand why the same response is going to satisfy both the personality. Yudhishthira Maharaj, who has this feeling that Lord is partial towards the demons, like he was very merciful towards Shishupal, who was like a demon, who was always against the Lord, while Parikshit Maharaj feels that Lord is partial towards the devotees. And we all understand that Shishupal and Dantwakra, they are none other than Jai Vijay, who are cursed by the Brahmanas, which appears in the fourth canto of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So the gist of the story I'll quickly cover, and then we'll dive into the lessons. So here, it is very nicely described that Hiranyakashipu is a son of Diti. So the descendants of Ditis are referred to as Daityas. And Indra and so many others, Mitra, Varuna, Vivaswan, they are sons of Aditi. Aditi is the elder sister of Diti. They are real sisters and they have the same husband, Rishi Kashyap, sage Kashyap. And all the descendants of Aditis are referred to as Adityas, and the descendants of Ditis are referred to as Daityas. They are half brothers, half cousins, yet there is continuous animosity coming between them. So it just so happened that Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksh, these are the first two births of Jai Vijay after being cursed by the Brahmanas, the Chatush Kumaras, and they are very powerful. And with their prowess, they are trying to rule over the universe. And at the same time, Hiranyaksh is killed by Lord Varahadev. That has already been covered earlier. And now, Hiranyakashipu, he has received an amazing boon from Lord Brahma. He actually wanted to become immortal, but Lord Brahma says, even I'm not immortal. How can I make you immortal? So Hiranyakashipu puts a condition that I cannot be killed in due course of time, during day or during night, inside the house, outside the house, by a demigod, human, or an animal. So he placed various conditions, not in the air, not on the earth. So all these conditions have been presented by Hiranyakashipu, and Lord Brahma says, Tathastu. So be it. So he becomes very powerful, rejuvenated from that. Yet at the same time, and again, when he comes back, he meets his wife, and he is, again, Shukracharya says, maybe you should go and meditate on Lord Shiva. So because it seems like you were tricked by Lord Brahma, there may be some conditions. When he goes to meditate on Lord Shiva, Devashi Narad, along with his friend, he becomes like parrot. They appear and they say, Shiv Vishnu, Shiv Vishnu, Shiv Vishnu. So his meditation is disturbed. And he comes back upset. And at that time, when he is with Kayadu, she is expecting, and of course, Hiranyakashipu again goes back to the forest, and that's when Lord Brahma gives. First, it was Shiva, and then this incident happens. Now, Kayadu is expecting a baby. Demigods thinking that Hiranyakashipu has gone to the forest to meditate, and before he returns, we should kill the son who will be born, because they're thinking the child of a snake is going to be a snake. So a demon's son will be a demon. And when they were creating plunders in the palace of Hiranyakashipu and they were pulling Kayadu away, at that time Devashi Narad, Sage Narad appeared. He said, why are you taking this sinless woman? She did not do any harm to you. And they said, no, actually, we will release her once she gives birth to her son, because her son is going to be a son of Hiranyakashipu, which means a demon. And Devashi Narad at that time reveals, no, this is not a demon, this is a great Bhagavatam, a great devotee of the Lord. And hearing this, they circumambulate Kayadu and ask for forgiveness, and they leave. At that time, realizing that Kayadu did not have a shelter, Sage Narad took her with him to his ashram. Now, his ashram is in the Vrindavan Kshetra. We all know that Daksha had actually cursed Devashi Narad that he cannot reside at one place. However, Lord Krishna told Narad that he can be in Vrindavan because Vrindavan is not part of this material world. And so that curse will not be effective. So Acharyas reveal that that was the reason Devashi Narad was able to take to Kayadu. And he gave her instructions. And these instructions were meant for Kayadu as well as Prahlad in her womb. However, Kayadu was always in anxiety. When will my husband return? What will be the state? Could there be another danger? So even though she was hearing these messages, being woman in a complete anxious state, she could not remember those instructions. But Prahlad in her womb was able to understand those instructions very well. Now, Hiranyakashipu, after receiving boon from Lord Brahma, when he returns, he is very powerful, and he is so much so that all the demigods are like his, court sons. So they are part of his assembly, and he's chastising them. Anytime he becomes angry, these demigods are shaking in fear. With folded hands, they are serving him. So much so, Hiranyakashipu actually is able to rule over this universe and the planets, and he's carrying out the activities of wind god. He's carrying out the activities of sun god, Vivaswan, and so forth. And so much so that everyone, and he's stopping the Vishnu Yagya, the sacrifice which is meant for Lord Krishna's satisfaction. He's the beneficiary, but he stops all that. He says, I am the Supreme. So much so that he is looking for Lord Vishnu and he can't find him because Lord has taken shelter of his own heart. He's the super soul in our heart. And comes Prahlad. Now, it is very interesting that when he meets Prahlad, he has, asked Shanda and Amarka, they are two sons of Shukracharya, to be the teacher of all the, students, all the children in Gurukul. And they are giving him nice instruction. Prahlad is just 5 years old. Now, what's interesting is that Kayadu, after Hiranyakashipu returns, Devashi Narad brings Kayadu to Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu is very much obliged and grateful for Devashi Narad. Now, where he is searching for Lord Vishnu everywhere and giving trouble to all the devotees of Lord Vishnu, he is having a very grateful attitude towards Devashi Narad. And Devashi Narad himself says Narad is a great devotee of Lord. And we hear many times that, he's chanting the glories on his veena. Yet at the same time, Hiranyakashipu let that incident go. So this is also a mood of a demon that they choose who are favorable and who are unfavorable. The friends and enemy, they always live in the world of dualities. He thinks that, oh, he saved my wife and my son from getting annihilated, by getting killed and tormented by the demigods, so they are on my side. Even though they're taking Lord Vishnu's name, they're actually on my side. So he is on my side, so he doesn't say anything. He ignores, he turns his face away. Now, devotees, on the other hand, are very smart. So this is where the intelligence which comes, from Lord Krishna himself. Devotees are very smart in providing the instructions, which reminds me of an incident when Vibhishan, on his walls inside the house, everywhere it was written Rama, 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 Rama. And Ravan, he comes to know of this. And he goes to Vibhishan's house. He says, in your palace, every wall has this Rama. Ram is my enemy. How could you write Ram all over your, walls? So Vibhishan says, no, you misunderstood. It is Ravana Mandodhari, Ravana Mandodhari. That's why it's Ra-ma, Ra-ma. Ravan likes it so much so that he says every house should have Ram written on the walls. So this is just showing us that devotees are very intelligent when they're presenting their case. So Devashi Narad has presented that Bhagavad Dharma, that knowledge of God realization, self-realization, to Prahlad Maharaj, who's in the womb. And this is the potency of a guru being endured by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. And in this way, when Prahlad, even though he is being instructed by his teachers, Shanda and Amarka, and the teaching that they are giving is, of course, how to read and write. That is the basics. Yet at the same time, when it comes to what kind of logic to learn, what is the purpose of life, then they are focusing on the Purushartha, the first three aspects of Purushartha: Dharma, Arth, Kama. They are not discussing moksha or anything beyond that. So Dharma is, there's teaching Prahlad Maharaj that religious rituals and the duties is so that we beget a lot of wealth, so earth, for better economic development. And interestingly, if you look at today's education system, that very much follows what Shanda and Amarka were teaching at that time. Current times also, the teachers are teaching students so that they get into a profession where they can acquire wealth. So earth. And this acquiring wealth is focused on sense gratification so that they can use this wealth for their sense enjoyment. And when Prahlad Maharaj, he is brought in front of his father, his mother Kayadu, she very nicely, gives him bath, nicely dresses him up, brings him in, Prahlad Maharaj, in front of Hiranyakashipu. And Hiranyakashipu, he is asking his son, so tell me, what is the best thing that you have learned from your teachers, right? He's asking a 5-year boy. He picks up his son, puts him on his lap, looking at his son. And when a father picks up his 5-year-old son who has just started going to school, father, what is he expecting? He's expecting that the child will say, twinkle, twinkle, little star. something on those lines. Whatever comes to your mind, just, whatever you have learned, just say anything. Yet at the same time, the instructions comes his way that he is not ready for. So Prahlad, he says, Tatsadu manne asuravarya dehinam sada samudvigna dhyam asadghatat hitvatma patam grahanda vanam gatoya dharim ashriyeta. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So Prahlad Maharaj's response to his father's inquiry, so tell anything, is, O best of the asuras, the king of the demons, as far as I have learned from my spiritual master, any person who has accepted a temporary body and temporary household life is certainly embarrassed by anxiety because of having fallen in a dark well, andakupam, where there is no water, but only suffering. One should give up this position and go to the forest, Vrindavan. More clearly, one should go to Vrindavan, where only Krishna consciousness is prevalent, and should thus take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Now, Hiranyakashipu, he hears this, and he smiles mildly. He's thinking, oh, he's just getting wrong influence. So he addresses Shanda and Amarka. He says that it seems like some Vaishnavas, some devotees of Vishnu, they are coming in disguise to your Gurukul. And in your absence, they are teaching the children what they should not be taught. So in this way, he, does not really chastise, but warns them that they should pay attention, that no Vaishnava, no devotee of Krishna should be able to enter into their Gurukul and give the wrong kind of knowledge. And thus, having instructed them, he leaves Prahlad again in their care. Ta Shanda and Amarka, they are inquiring from Prahlad Maharaj, where have you learned this? And Prahlad Maharaj at that time, he reveals to them that actually, I do not like the education that you are giving me. You're telling me that this person is my friend, that person is my enemy. This is how I should try to keep my friends under my control, under my prowess, and make them do what I want to do. And this is how I should annihilate my enemies. I do not like this politics, this economic development-based dualities related temporary knowledge that you are imparting on me. So they become angry. They say, oh, this boy needs to be chastised more strongly. He needs to be, shown what is true knowledge. And this is where they come with this perspective that Prahlad he needs to be chastised and even punished so that he gets what they are teaching and forgets what he is speaking. All this seems like some Vaishnava is teaching him the wrong kind of knowledge. And this, if we reflect back, we also see in current times that sometimes when children, they take to devotional service, parents become worried, right? There have been so many incidents in our movement where the parents would write back, even Srila Prabhupada's time, they actually went to people and they said that this Krishna consciousness, this movement is causing brainwashing. They are brainwashing our children. And Prabhupada very mildly smiled and he responded, yes, their brain is filled with so many polluted things that they have to be washed to cleanse of all these impurities that has entered their mind through the various systems in the society that has been established currently. And that is continuing to even happen today. And yet at the same time, this is a perspective. So when we as devotees see something as 6, I'm looking at it as 6. But if I put it like this, you may be reading it as 9. So what looks as 6 to me may appear 9 to you. So that is the nature of this world. Even in current times, we can see some of those practices. Now, Hiranyakashipu time, when people were following Hiranyakashipu, all the demons and people who were praising him, everything was going perfectly. Means again, from economic development to the weather and everything that was there, it was going on perfectly as somebody would expect in their dreams. The kind of world where everything is materially progressing. Means Hiranyakashipu himself was, riding the very chariot of sun god, and himself taking care of all the administration of the universe, and everything was perfect. There was a lot of grains, perfect weather, everything was perfect, timely executed, and all the demigods was following his instructions so that his, associates and people who are his followers will have very leisurely, pleasureful life. Yet at the same time, what was missing? The very core was missing, the root was missing. That everything should be performed for the satisfaction of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That very aspect was missing. And so even Hiranyakashipu, he was dissatisfied. And when he heard this response from Prahlad Maharaj, it disturbed him. So he, again, wanted to meet his son. This time, Chanda and Amarka, they prepared Prahlad Maharaj very nicely. And they said, okay, we believe that Prahlad is ready to face his father and share the kind of knowledge. Now, Prahlad, by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was always remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Yet at the same time, the teacher says, I'm teaching you this, and then asks the question, what have I taught you? Prahlad will respond as it is to what they have said. So they were feeling satisfied that when his father would ask him, then he would be able to respond very nicely. This time, they bring Prahlad in front of Hiranyakashipu again. Hiranyakashipu picks up Prahlad, puts him on his lap. He smells his hair, and looks at his face, holds him within his palm with a loving father's attitude. And even tears are flowing from his eyes through his cheeks. He's loving, as a loving father, he's embracing Prahlad on his lap. And he says, what is the best knowledge that you have learned from your teacher? So this time, he's not asking anything. He's asking what is the best in the presence of Chanda and Amarka, Kayadu, and courtesans. He's asking this question. And Prahlad Maharaj, what his response is? Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atmanivedanam. That we have to take to the hearing and chanting about the name, form, activities, qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So, Shravanam, hearing, Kirtanam, chanting, Smaranam, remembering the Lord, Pada Sevanam, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, Archanam, performing the worship, Archana, Archa Vigraha form. So again, we do the worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Vandanam, sing prayers, and then Dasyam, being a servant, serve the Lord, and Sakhyam, being a friend to the Lord, and Atmanivedam, surrendering everything for the pleasure of Lord. So now, hearing this, Hiranyakashipu is upset. And it's not just that. He is saying, Iti pumsar pita Vishnu bhaktis chen navalakshana kriyate bhagavate adha tanmanne aditam uttamam. Those who take to these 9 processes of devotional service are uttam bhakta. They are great devotees. They are pure devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Now this time Hiranyakashipu is furious. He throws Prahlad from his lap. And he says that this is my enemy because he is a devotee of my enemy Vishnu. So he is as, much I consider Vishnu as my enemy, so is he my enemy. And asks his soldiers, his generals, to go and kill Prahlad. Now various attempts to kill Prahlad are made, but Prahlad is determined, he is meditating on the Lord, and he is always remembering the Lord, praying for him. He is staying determined and unflinching in his devotion. The soldiers, they try to hurt Prahlad through the weapons. Those weapons cannot hurt Prahlad. They send mad elephants to tromp over Prahlad. Those elephants cannot hurt Prahlad. They make many snakes bite Prahlad, poisonous snakes. Those bites do not affect Prahlad. They even have Kayadu, the mother, offer poison, very strong poison to Prahlad. And it said in the by the acharyas that actually that poison turns into nectar, just like Mirabai. When she was given the bowl of poison by her very husband to drink, when she drank that poison by the mercy of Lord Krishna, it turned into nectar. Hiranyakashipu's own sister, Holika, she wore that veil so that she cannot be burned by Agni. She took Prahlad on her lap, and what happened? She burned down. Prahlad was unaffected. So all these things are happening, and at that time, Hiranyakashipu is thinking what to do, and Chanda and Amarka approached Hiranyakashipu. He said, you know what? Give us one more chance. Maybe we can make things happen better this time. And so hearing some consolation, some assurance coming from Chanda and Amarka, the sons of Shukracharya, he allows Prahlad to go in their company. Now, they are trying to, this time, chastise Prahlad and try to teach him, but when they were not away, when they were not present, Prahlad started instructing his classmates. So, what is Prahlad instructing? Kumar achiretar pragyo dharmam bhagavatam iha dullabham manusham janma tad apya adruvam arthadam. Prahlad Maharaj, he is instructing his classmates. He's saying that one who is sufficiently intelligent, right? Pragya means intelligent, should use this human form of body from the very beginning of life, Kumar Acharet, from the very early stage, tender stage of childhood, and start practicing. So what is he instructing? That one should, from the very beginning of this life, understand the goal of life and practice the activities of devotional service, engage in devotional service unto Lord Krishna, giving up all other engagements. So again, not engage in these dual aspects of this world. Because this human body is most rarely achieved. And although temporary like other bodies, it is meaningful because it is only in human body, in human life, that we can perform devotional service. We can have atato brahma jigyasa. We can inquire about the absolute. And even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one perfect protection, which is also Krishna revealing in Bhagavad Gita. Neha bikram nashasti pratvayo na vidyate swalpam apasya dharvasya trayate bhato bhayat. So Lord Krishna is saying that, revealing to Arjuna, instructing Arjuna, that little devotional service can save one from the greatest danger. So there is no diminution, there is no loss. And similar instruction is given by Prahlad Maharaj while he is saying that we have to start devotional service from the very early tender age. And Srila Prabhupada in the purports very nicely describing that if we don't take, so the best time to engage in devotional service is now. Not that when we were children we couldn't perform, so that doesn't mean we don't perform. But in the old age it becomes very difficult to engage in devotional service. Because all our life we have been dealing with dualities, and it becomes very difficult for a person to take to devotional service when they are in the old age, which is actually the mindset of the materialist. In this world, people think that, we should enjoy our life when we are young and happy, and we should take to devotional service when we become old. Well, when we become invalid, not able to use our senses properly, then how can we engage in devotional service? We also hear from the prayers of King Kulshekar, one of the 12 alvars, that he's praying that, Lord, right now my senses are strong. Please let me engage in your devotional service. Let me leave this body because now I can meditate on you with full strength. Similarly, Bhishma Pitama, even though he was on the bed of arrows, he was meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was focusing on Lord Krishna completely. And so we can attain the perfection of this life by going back home, back to Godhead. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayati samadbhavam yati nastatra samshaya. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is saying that at the last moment of life, at the moment of death, one who thinks of me can return back to me. Of this, there is no doubt. Yet it's very interesting when the classmates are receiving these instructions from Prahlad Maharaj. They are asking, Prahlad, we haven't seen, means we have the same teacher. Shanna and Amarka are our teachers and they are your teachers as well. And we haven't seen you getting instructions from anyone else in this Gurukul. Where is this knowledge coming from? So at that time, Prahlad Maharaj reveals that actually he received this knowledge when he was in the womb of his mother. Now somebody could ask the question that why couldn't mother remember the same instruction? And Prahlad reveals this, that because being a woman and less intelligent, so this is where we are talking about, Satyuga, Krita Yuga time. Where Krite Yuga Dhyayate Vishrum Tiretayam Yajato Make Dwapare Paricharyayam Kala Tadhari Kirtanad. So in Krita age, one can attain perfection by meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so there are 4 pillars of Dharma. So these are not Dharma Kamosh. This is austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. So these 4 pillars are very important. And all 4 pillars were very well established at the time of Satyuga. And so one could perform meditation like Hiranyakashipu, but he performed meditation not to please Lord Krishna. He performed austerities to beget power so that he can rule over the universe and enjoy the universe. Yet we see that he is constantly disturbed. Even when Prahlad Maharaj had revealed to him that these 9 processes are what's important, Hiranyakashipu actually asked him questions like, how are you getting this knowledge? What is the basis? Why are you not taking to the knowledge that your teachers are trying to give you? And Prahlad Maharaj basically says, I'm not interested in chewing the chewed. This is the Punacharvit Charvan. That's the unintelligent way of progressing in the life. Everything in this life is temporary, including this body. So we have to look for that is what's beyond this body. And Prahlad Maharaj is saying that how can a blind lead a blind, and what will the result if a blind leads another blind? Of course, they will never reach the destination. And acharyas, they basically help us identify that we have to take shelter of one who has seen the truth. And the process has been very nicely described in Bhagavad Gita itself. Lord Krishna reveals in the 4th chapter. Tad viddhi pradipatena pariprashnena sevya uddekshanti tajjnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. So we have to follow the process. Tad viddhi pradipatena pariprashnena. We have to take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master and inquire from him in a submissive mode and perform service to him, seva, sevaya. And the self-realized soul can reveal the truth to us because they have seen the truth. So a bona fide spiritual master can help us deliver and attain the goals. So we need someone who has the sight, who has the chakshu. So that's why we say Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. We glorify the spiritual master that he has given us the vision. So when a blind person receives the vision, then the blind person can see things as they are. Now, this reminds me of a small story. I'll digress and then come back to the topic. So once there was a boy, he was traveling with his father, a young 22, 23-year-old man and young man. And he was in his train ride. He was riding in a train. He was saying, oh, Dad, look, the trees are running behind us. And so the couple in front of them was becoming uneasy. They're like, why is this boy behaving like a child? He's like, look, Dad, some clouds are with us, some clouds are behind us, some clouds are running with us. They're like, why is he acting like that? Look, Dad, the sun is going with us. They're like, why is he talking like this? So asked the dad, is your son having some kind of trouble? What's wrong with him? So the dad at that time says, no, there's nothing wrong with him. He asked his son to not be so excited. But then the son could not control himself. He was feeling excited again, observing something, another thing outside. So the dad revealed to the young couple, actually, he was born blind. Just a week back, he received his eyesight. So, and this is his first train ride. So that's why he appears so excited. And similarly, when parents, they see their children taking to Krishna consciousness and the parents are not devotees, then they become worried about their children. While this worry is actually, they should be worried about themselves because their children are on the right path. Just like Prahlad Maharaj, he was on the right path. He was trying to help his father, but his father, instead of seeing, like I can see 6, but you will see it as 9, he was seeing the same thing as different. Now, Prahlad Maharaj, while he was instructing what is happening with Hiranyakashipu, he's thinking that I tried every way to kill this child. Shanda and Amaka are trying to teach him, but I don't think he will, fix his ways. He's thinking that a tail of a dog is curved, and no matter how long you put it in a pipe or try to straighten it, it will always come out to be curved. And such is the response. Hare Krishna. And we see the materialists use this very same sayings from there to promote their material motives. That is the perverted reflection of the great teachings to use in a perverted way in this material world. We understand that we have to take shelter from bona fide spiritual master. But at the same time, a demoniac father like Hiranyakashipu, he is not able to take to the instructions of Prahlad Maharaj. He is still feeling that this son of mine is my greatest enemy. He is a devotee of Vishnu. He is a devotee of my enemy. I would love for him to be my devotee. So now having heard from Shanda and Amarka, who now approach Hiranyakashipu, they say, actually he's preaching to the children in Gurukul. And these children have now started practicing devotion service, Bhakti Yoga. And they are worried and complain to Hiranyakashipu that he is not just spoiled, he is spoiling the whole environment of Gurukul. And there is another saying, a bad fish can destroy the whole pond. Again, whole pond. So that is another perspective, which reminds me of a real life incident. My material name is Jay, and my younger brother's name is Vijay. We were both in a boarding school in India. And they had just introduced the use of fork and knife. And there was an instruction passed on, I was a junior school prefect, 9th grade, that everyone must use fork and knife. And one day, our principal came on a surprise visit, surprise inspection. And he saw of the 700 children sitting in this dining hall, on each table, everyone was using fork and knife, except Vijay on my table, and I was the head of the table. So he asked me, why is he not using fork and knife? I said, sir, I tried to console him to use fork and knife, but he says that he cannot taste the food properly when he's using fork and knife. So he said, make sure that he uses fork and knife. Vijay, just for the pleasure of the principal, he said, yes. Well, a month later, the principal comes in for another surprise visit. This time he sees every table, every boy using fork and knife, except my whole table using our hands to eat food, finger food. We say it's finger food. We cannot taste. He actually asked us to compare it, and we realized we cannot taste the food, the potency, the spices and so forth. So that's why we took it. And the way we were doing it is how we are supposed to be eating with these fingers, not touching the index finger or the little finger. So he said, well, you should try to start using fork and knife. He did not have a good enough argument. He wanted us to embrace the Western culture. A month later, he comes to the dining hall, and to his surprise, not one boy was using fork and knife. And everyone was using hands. And next assembly time, he comes and says, one bad fish spoils the whole pond. We tried you guys to learn how to use fork and knife, but it seems like everyone wants to use their hands, their fingers to eat food. And he was directly targeting for Vijay. So again, sometimes we see that what may be a 6 to us may appear 9 to others. I'm looking at 6, you're looking at 9. And they use the same teachings from our Shastras against us. So this is a perverted mindset. So we have to be very, very careful. Prahlad Maharaj, by his teachings, is revealing this to us. And that his own father is not taking to this amazing knowledge, but rather is stuck in this material world thinking, I and my aham mameti. Aham, I, causes one to provide different type of designations to oneself with this body. Somebody will think, I'm an Indian, I'm an American, become proud by that and become envious of others who are in better positions. I am rich. Oh, he's very rich. I'm very envious of him. Oh, I am a great Sanskrit scholar. Oh, he's a better scholar. Become envious of other person. This is material consciousness. While Prahlad Maharaj, he never called himself great devotee. Devashi Narad, Sage Narad, his own spiritual master, is glorifying Prahlad Maharaj, identifying that he is such an amazing devotee. So here we are seeing from the example of Prahlad Maharaj, and third time Hiranyakashipu calls Prahlad Maharaj, he's saying, where do you get this power? Where do you get, because Hiranyakashipu is fearing that I'm supposed to be immortal, and I'm supposed to be looking for this kind of boon that nothing can destroy me. And how's Prahlad acting as if he is immortal? And this conversation is causing Prahlad to respond that actually our source is same. So everything that we're getting in this material world is same. So he's challenging Hiranyakashipu's authority, who's thinking, I'm this body and I am the most powerful person, and no one can harm me, and I can enjoy, unlimitedly, eternally, while at the same time, Prahlad Maharaj is defying that. And then the next aspect is mameti, mine. Everything that is mine is under my control. So these two things, aham, the identification with the body causes envy, and mameti, everything that belongs to the body causes lust. And lust cannot be destroyed. So again, kamesha, krodesha, rajoguna samudbhava, mahashano, mahapapa, vidyam iha verenam, it is our greatest enemy and can also makes us fall down to mode of ignorance by becoming one angry. So now what are some of the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj? Again, Hiranyakashipu, he is saying, is he in this pillar? Prahlad Maharaj is saying he is everywhere. So he is saying that I'm going to kill you. He picks up his sword to kill Prahlad, but he punches, he puts his fist against the pillar, and suddenly Lord Nrsimhadev appears. He fights with Hiranyakashipu and destroys him, wears his intestine as garlands, and makes sure that his boon has been kept as is, and finds perfect situations in which Hiranyakashipu is destroyed. Now, various residents of higher planetary systems, they come and glorify Lord Nrsimha, trying to pacify him. But he is not getting pacified. Even Lord Brahma comes, Lord Shiva comes, they are trying to pacify. Goddess Lakshmi is fearing this ferocious form of Lord Nrsimhadev. She can't even approach him. At that time, Lord Brahma says to Prahlad that, my dear Prahlad, it seems your Lord Nrsimhadev is very upset with your father. Please try to pacify him. And Prahlad says, I have no qualification. Yet he takes the instruction of Brahma and he approaches the Supreme Lord Nrsimhadev, and tries to pacify him, saying, I have no qualification. I'm born in the family of demons. I'm one of the Daityas, descendant of Diti. And yet I will make my best effort to pacify the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when he bows down in front of the Lord places his hand. Prahlad says that what I have received as a boon is not even available to Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and to Goddess Lakshmi, because Lord does not put his hand on their head. And Lord Nrsimhadev picks him with affection, places Prahlad on his lap, and just like a lion loves his cub with his tongue, is licking. Sometimes people talk about grooming or reflecting affection in animals. That's how they reflect. And Lord is loving Prahlad. He says, ask what you want. Prahlad Maharaj now gives an amazing teaching that this is not a mercantile business. I am your unalloyed devotee. I'm not looking for my interest at all. Savay pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti ras adhokshaje ahetuki apratihata yayatma suprasiddhati. So, bhakti yoga is the true occupational duty of all living entities, and it should be performed ahetuki, without having self-interest, and apratihata, uninterrupted. Yayatma suprasiddhati, and then one can truly receive full satisfaction in one's heart. Now, what are some of the teachings from all these interactions? Prahlad Maharaj even says that I am worried about these fools and rascals. He's looking at general populace who is not Krishna conscious, that I'm not looking for my deliverance. Please, first make sure my father is delivered. Narasimhadev says, as soon as I touched him, he was purified. And Prahlad, where a devotee like you is born, 21 generations are delivered. Now, in the purpose, Srila Prabhupada says 21 generations of forefather is delivered. At other places, Acharyas reveal 7 generations above, 7 generations in a literal, and 7 generations below, they are delivered. In reality, getting a devotee in the family is a great boon. So, if you have a devotee in your family, means again, as devotees, we should be very thankful that we have received the proper understanding of the purpose of this human form of life. So what are some of the teachings we can take from this interaction of Prahlad Maharaj, with his father, with his teachers, with his classmates, and with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Narasimhadev? Well, one is supreme importance of devotional service. This material world is temporary, and only devotional service, only Bhakti Yoga can bring the true happiness, Yayatma Suprasiddhati, when it is performed without any self-interest and without any interruptions. And how can we use some of the practical example? We have to balance our work and spiritual life by setting aside time for chanting and reading scriptures on a daily basis. And we should use the resources to serve the Lord instead of using them to engage in material indulgence. What is the second lesson we can learn? We can learn from Prahlad Maharaj the fearlessness that comes through faith, through unflinching devotional service. So if we take shelter of Krishna, we need not fear anything. So here, during our life, once again, there are various practical ways we can use this. There are many life challenges like job. Sometimes we lose the job, and sometimes there are health issues, sometimes the economic havoc like COVID and other things happening. Then we should trust in Lord Krishna's plan. We should trust in his plan, and that we have to just engage in a devotional service. There is a saying, in daytime, we make twice the advancement, at night time, which is like the difficult times, we make 4 times the advancement. Din duni raat chauguni. So that becomes true in devotional life, that we are always engaged in devotional service when things are going, but we engage in devotional service twice the strength when things are not going well. We take more shelter. And Queen Kunti in her praise is also revealing this, that my Lord Krishna, may these calamities come again and again, tatra tatra. Because when they come, we see you, and seeing you means we'll not have to have repeated birth and death. Now that we are comfortable, you are leaving us. So again, this is another lesson. What's the lesson 3? That we have to learn to be tolerant and practice forgiveness and respect everyone. The third verse of Shri Shashtakam, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu reveals to us that if we want to take to devotional service, and we can, so that we can always chant the glories of the name form activities of the Lord, we have to be tolerant, more tolerant than the tree, more humble than the grass, and not expecting any respect for ourselves, but give all respect to others. So handling workplace conflicts is with humility instead of retaliation or reaction. cultivating inner peace by forgiving others instead of seeking revenge. So again, we have to practice this in our life itself. What's the fourth teaching we can take? That we can avoid material illusions. We can understand that the dualities are it's an illusion. In reality, no one is our friend or enemy. Everyone is children of, son of Lord Krishna. And so we can be properly situated. Brahma bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhakti labte param. Brahma bhuta prasannatma. So one who is situated on the Brahman, which is transcendental to the three modes of material nature, one is prasannatma, one is happy. Why is one happy? Na shochati, because he's not lamenting about the past, lamenting about things that happened in the back. And na akankshati, and does not aspire for something in the future. Sama sarveshu bhuteshu, is equally disposed to all living entities, and mad bhakti labte param, is engaged in my devotional service. So if we want to be happy, we have to avoid material illusion, and whatever resources, whatever facilities that we have, whatever influence we have should be used in the service of Lord Krishna. We should engage in charity, in devotional service, rather than excessive material accumulations. In this regard, I'm reminded of a short story. There were two friends, Premnath and Ramnath. Premnath was very poor, Ramnath was the landlord. So they were friends since they were children, when they were young boys. And Ramnath was thinking, Premnath is always so happy and he has nothing. I've got all these big bungalows and so much land and so many factories, and I'm always appearing to be worried. So he talks to his secretary, Munshi. His secretary says, you know what, you should give little treasure to Premnath as a gift and see what happens. So Ramnath, he takes the advice. He invites Premnath. He says, as a friend, I want to gift you something. He gives him a chest full of gold and jewels. He says, this is my gift to you. Premnath says, okay, you're my friend. You're giving me something. I should accept it. Dadati pratigahanati, So he accepts it. But Premnath, when he went to his house, he lived in a mud hut, made up of rocks with lap of mud, the layer of mud. He was thinking, if people know that I've got so much wealth in the house, they would break the wall when I'm asleep and take away this wealth. So all night he couldn't sleep properly, thinking of this chest. So next day, Premnath, he came back and said, Ramnath, I really appreciate your gesture, but here's your wealth back to you because it has taken away my peace, my happiness. So sometimes when you try to accumulate more than what is required, it takes away our wealth, our true happiness, and our ability to engage in devotional service. Last but not the least is the importance of spiritual upbringing. So glorious are the parents who are bringing Krishna consciousness to their children and engaging them in devotional service. So encouraging children, leading by examples, by practicing devotional service at home. It's very interesting when it comes to devotional service, it's coming our way. There is a tendency of people to think, I'm already a great bhakta. I don't have to do this. I have to engage others in doing this. No, first we have to engage ourselves for our purification, and then we should share that with others so that they see us in that role and properly take to it by example. His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj says that one can preach Krishna consciousness without speaking a word by one's own action. So actions speak louder than words. So that is an amazing teaching that we can take to our heart, looking at the example and teachings from Prahlad Maharaj himself, how he was unwavering, unflinching in his devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and always seeking welfare for everyone. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments at this point?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Gurudev. So, first of all, I'm very grateful for your wonderful class and extremely sorry for the disturbance in the starting of the class. So, dear devotees, I would like to introduce Prabhuji. Basically, Prabhuji is from Washington, D.C. So he's very senior devotee, and he has been practicing Krishna consciousness since 30 years. Prabhuji has done bachelor's from India in electronics and telecommunication and a master's in computer science from John Hopkins. By profession, Prabhuji offers coaching and training in leadership development. Prabhuji and his wife are certified Bhakti Shastri teachers and serve at ISKCON, Washington, D.C. They conduct Bhakti Shastri certification, Bhagavad Gita, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita classes, and conduct workshops also. They facilitate study groups, offer pujari services, college preaching, book distribution, community building and support, and mentor globally. Prabhuji has also helped with formation of Karuna Care, providing initial tech support. So together with his wife, Anand Rupa Mataji, they both inspire and cultivate the hearts of whomever they meet. So it's a great honor and privilege to have Prabhuji with us, such a senior devotee. He's a disciple of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. So thank you very much, Prabhuji, for enlightening us, and you gave us such a wonderful summary at the end of the class, because I couldn't hear the entire class due to poor network connection. So thank you for sharing Prahlad Maharaj's pastimes and teachings from his life. So devotees, I would like to request you, if you have any question, then you can ask. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanu Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. Prabhuji, my question is related to that Prahlad Maharaj didn't tell about his spiritual master when Hiranyakashipu asked or when Shanda and Amarka asked, but he told this to his classmates. So what is the lesson that we can learn from this? Because there are many envious people around us also, so shouldn't we tell about that we are connected with ISKCON or something like this? Only to
Hare Krishna, Tejaswini Mataji. Thank you very much for the question. Very important question. Sometimes such inquiries do come in our mind. Devotees understand the importance of time, and so they like to be very precise and address what is being asked. So Prahlad Maharaj specifically responded to the inquiry that was being made, understanding that his more important is remembering Lord Krishna. So again, Smaranam, he is the example that is constantly remembering Lord Krishna, and he is attaining perfection through that process. So time is a very precious commodity that we have, and we spend time to address specifically the question. Since Hiranyakashipu or his teachers did not ask that question, he did not reveal. His classmates, they asked that question, so he revealed. Hare Krishna. Does that answer your question?
Okay, Prabhuji, I think as far as I remember, I think Shanda and Amarka once asked Prahlad Maharaj, but he didn't reveal, I think.
So again, we have to also look at it. If you are a devotee, you don't want other devotees to get in trouble. I'm reminded of an incident when Srila Prabhupada, he wanted to Rath Yatra, and the devotees went out and they were trying to collect flowers, and they were thinking everything belongs to Lord Krishna. And he went into a greenhouse and they collected lots of flowers. Next morning, when the Rath Yatra was to be held, lots of flowers showed up and everyone decorated the chariots and garlands, and so many arrangements were made. And then the owner of that greenhouse, from whose property this was taken, he came with the cops. And at that time, one of the sannyasi disciple of Srila Prabhupada, he said, I am the one who is responsible. And he took it on himself. He didn't say that all these devotees were with me. And he went to jail so that other devotees can engage in Rath Yatra festival. So we have to be also very intelligent. I also give the example of Vibhishan. Raman asked him, why do you have Ram on your walls? He said, no, you misunderstood. He didn't say you misunderstood that it is not that Ram. He said, you misunderstood. It's representing Ravan Mandodari. And Ravan liked it so much so that he had Ram written on all the walls of all the demons in Sri Lanka. So again, we have to look from the right perspective. How can we engage others in Krishna consciousness and not cause harm to the devotees. Hare Krishna. Does that respond to your question?
Yes, Prabhuji, and thank you very much for sharing that incident. And Prabhuji, one more question. You said in the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj that we should practice humility and tolerance, and that will be for our inner peace. So sometimes it becomes difficult to apply this in our life, especially in work culture. Nowadays, we see that there's a lot of human exploitation and kind of this. So it becomes very difficult. So is there any limit to this principle, this teaching?
Yes, we should not become doormat. We should not put ourselves in the situations where we are being treated as doormat. That's also very important. We should remove ourselves. So yes, in the beginning, we may very well think that this is Krishna's mercy. I must have performed some bad karmas in my past lives, and they are getting nullified. But if we realize that actually it's not the bad karmas, this is personal vengeance or personal motive somebody is going. So we should move ourselves from that situation, if as much as possible, so that our focus is on bhakti. We have to understand from that perspective. Smartavya satatam Vishnu vismartavya na jatuchit. Sarve vidhi nishedesyu reteyo reva kinkaraha. Always remember Krishna. We also call it smart mantra. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So if the situation is not helping you remember Krishna, it's causing so much of a trouble, and someone is trying to treat you like a doormat, move yourself from that situation away so that you can focus on devotional service. Hare Krishna. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Pranam.
Hare Krishna. I say
Hare
there are a couple of hands. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you for the wonderful class, Prabhuji. I just had a question about the fourth lesson that you discussed, the avoid material illusion. I just missed the aspect that connected that teachings to the pastime of Prahlad Maharaj. If you could just throw some light on that, Prabhuji.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the very first time when Hiranyakashipu asked him, tell me anything that you like. He expected something simple as twinkle, twinkle, little star, whatever the child can remember. But what did Prahlad Maharaj said? That if one cannot control one's mind, then this married life, means the family life, is like a andhakupam. The materialistic life is basically addressing us. It's like a dark well. And there is no water in that dark well. And one cannot come out of this dark well. Rather better is, if we cannot control our mind, one should take to one. And Srila Prabhupada very nicely writes, that means Vrindavan. One should go to a holy place and practice devotional service, because at holy place, devotional service is spontaneous. So the fourth lesson is avoiding material illusion. So we have to change our position so that we can be properly situated. And devotee association is paramount. Of the 6 kinds of things that can improve our life, one of the, as human life, that's paramount. The second is the teachers are teaching them, the children, about dualities. This is your friend, this is your enemy. This is how you, distinguish them and keep your friends under control. And this is how you annihilate, destroy your enemies. And this is how you get profit. So dharma, earth, and kam is from material perspective. You perform the rituals so that you can get more economic development. Even austerity is materialistic, heavy endeavors so that they can get wealth, get name, fame, and glories, and finally going over. So it's very important for us to understand, to remove this material illusion. And material illusion starts right here. We're thinking that I am this body. Sometimes even devotee may think, oh, I am a great bhakta. No, actually, let's look for Prahlad Maharaj. Even that is material illusion. Radharani herself is always putting all of the gopis before her. That's what makes her glorious. So we have to put all, amanina, manadina. We have to give all respect to others, not expecting any respect for ourselves. Because even that little aspect of seeking respect can cause the pride to come in, and pride cometh before fall. Lust, anger, and pride, these are the 3 gates to hell. So we have to be very, very careful. Yet we can be carefree, but we cannot be careless. Hare Krishna. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for this wonderful class, Prabhuji. So my question is, when we start our journey in devotion and we don't find support from family, how do we handle that feeling of, expecting from others? Like from Prahlad Maharaj, I could see that he didn't expect anything from his family and continued his devotion. How do we do that? It seems very unpractical to me right now. So, what suggestions you would give to me?
Hare Krishna. Mataji, what you asked is very much from the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj. We may have taken to devotion service and our family members may become worried. Same way, like Hiranyakashipu was worried about Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad was so dear, he kept him on his lap, was smelling him. He had tears because of affection flowing from his eyes. So this is the second time when he's holding Prahlad like this. But then when he hears, it looks repulsive to him and he throws Prahlad off the lap. So sometimes even we may experience such expressions coming from family members. We are, of course, praying. Charity begins at home. We are praying for our deliverance, our surrender at the lotus feet. But we should also pray for our family members, that may Lord be merciful to them. And we make every effort in a humble way to give them Krishna consciousness. Sometimes one of the best ways is when we meet with them, we bring nice prasadam. My wife, she does this trick with her family. She makes nice sweets and nice prasadam after offering the bhoga to the Lord. She brings to the family and she gives them. Everywhere she goes, she tries to gift them. And people love, his tongue is very strong of all the senses. The 5 senses I'm referring to, the Jnana Indriyas. Tongue likes to taste palatable things. And by getting prasadam, automatically, it will clarify their consciousness in due course of time. They come to appreciate. And then, by Lord's mercy, in due course of time, they will take to devotional service and have proper response. We don't want them to cause any offense. So saying that we are a devotees, just like previous example was, Prahlad Maharaj was not saying, I'm a great disciple of, sage Narada. I'm a great Bhagavata. He's not saying any of those things. He's not expecting anything. He's looking at his progress, thinking himself to be the lower than the lowest. That's what humility is all about. That if we are taken to devotional service, we are saying we have got an amazing opportunity. And just like Prahlad Maharaj was saying, that I'm worried about these fools and rascals. He's talking of general populace. He's even giving a comparison that a dog eater who's a devotee can deliver his whole family, while a Brahmana who's not a devotee cannot even deliver himself. So he's giving these examples for us to understand the importance of devotional service, yet at the same time being merciful to others and praying for others for their deliverance. Rest is Lord Krishna. He's unlimited, his activities are unlimited, and he is working in a very mystical way in our lives. Hare Krishna, does that respond to your question?
Yes, thank you. I have a few more questions. So, is it wrong to have material expectations from family? Like, suppose if someone is not well physically, and is it wrong to expect family members to take care of the person? Sorry,
Okay.
maybe it sounds silly, but just asking
It's
for
very
my
important.
clarity.
Yes. His Grace Mahatma Das Prabhu, he refers to this in case of anger. I actually apply it in all directions. So one of the things that he says is when you're upset with someone has offended you, then what has happened is you are expecting them to come and ask for forgiveness from you. You just did something very bad for yourself. Why? Because your peace, think of your happiness and peace, you have locked it into a box, right? You have locked it, and the only key that you have, you actually handed it to that person. That until unless they come and give you the key, they ask for forgiveness, you cannot be at peace, you cannot be happy. You cannot be happy unless you are at peace. That is the expectation when someone has offended you. That is true in all circumstances. Every time we have an expectation, that means we are locking that response, to be that key that will give us peace. And why should we give us this key to anyone? We should always have a peace and happiness in our hand, which is Yayatma Suprasiddhati. It only comes when we continue to engage in unwavering, unflinching, selfless devotional service. Ahetuki apratihata Yayatma Suprasiddhati. That will give us true pleasure, true satisfaction at heart. So my request in this particular case and recommendation would be that don't have expectation, because that expectation is you're handing someone else. Hare Krishna. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. And it was very nice to hear about Prahlad Maharaj. We often hear this story, and I have heard from many devotees, so it was really nice to hear once again. I have a very some. I've got a very inquisitive, means for teaching purpose, that Prahlad Maharaj is actually just a 5-year-old. It's not very big one. He's just a boy. So boy means 5 years. But it seems his teachings are meant for quite elderly devotees or quite elderly people. This is my perception. I may be not fully correct. So I'm very curious to know, when we are like Bhagavatam can be preached for children, kids. So what aspect of Prahlad Maharaj can be actually shared, which will is especially meant for the kids of his age or of more than that, from 5 to 8 years or 12 years, something like that. What aspect of his teachings or his pastimes can be shared, which will really attract them, those people? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Rukmini Radhakrishna Prabhu. Very important question. So first I would say, as Acharyas reveal, that the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj is for all times, for all ages, in all circumstances. Because you can remember, our mind is always occupied with thinking of something. And the best thing is to remember Lord Krishna. From that perspective, when we look, it is our eyes, the material eyes deceive us constantly. Our senses, they deceive us, thinking of someone as a boy, how could he be so qualified to give us this? Dhruv Maharaj, in short time, he was able to see Lord Vishnu. That means, if you are 50 years old, we should take 1/10 the time. No, that is not true. It is on a different, it is all about the mindset. It is embracing the teachings from the spiritual master to our heart. And the knowledge is absolute. So the teaching is still prevalent. We see example of Gajendra. He was an elephant. Elephant can't even do Atata Brahma Jigyasa. But what is the cause? Lord Krishna's mercy empowered him to remember his prayers in his previous life. As King Indradumna, he used to offer those prayers to the Lord. And by Lord Krishna's mercy, we remember. So yes, one of the best ways, Srila Prabhupada also says, that we have to take to devotional service to the chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And a small child can also perform this service. When he is asking, what is the topmost knowledge? Some elderly people, in India, when he was visiting New Delhi, they couldn't respond to it. And there were some children, they were going, and he's saying, who is Krishna? The boy said, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's it. Simple. So again, we have to truly understand, believe, and embrace it through devotional service. We come to the realization that Vigyan, the scientific knowledge, is revealed to us. Does that answer your question, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Quite very nice insight we have got. That we should share the pastimes of Prahlad Maharaj, even though elderly, but even to the children, so they will definitely get the absolute knowledge through these pastimes. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much.